Imagine trekking through the vast, silent expanse of the Alps. The wind howls, the snow is blinding, and the air is thin. It's 1991, and two German hikers, Helmut and Erika Simon, are navigating the Ötztal Alps on the border between Austria and Italy. They're exhausted, but as they round a rocky gully, they spot something unusual sticking out of the glacial ice. It's the head and shoulders of a human body. Their first thought? A tragic mountaineering accident. A fellow climber lost to the unforgiving mountains maybe just a few years ago. They alert the authorities, and a rescue team is dispatched. Little did they, or anyone else, know that this wasn't a modern tragedy. This was a discovery that would rewrite history. This was the moment the world met a man who had been waiting, frozen in time, for over 5,300 years. When the body was finally extracted from the ice, along with a collection of strange, primitive-looking tools, the truth began to dawn. This wasn't a recent victim. The initial carbon dating results were so astonishing, some scientists refused to believe them. The body belonged to a man who lived and died around 3300 BC. During the Copper Age, he was older than the pyramids of Giza, older than Stonehenge. He was given a name, T, after the Ötztal Valley where he was found. He wasn't just a body. He was a perfectly preserved time capsule. The ice had acted as a natural freezer, protecting his skin, his organs, even his last meal from the ravages of time. For the first time, we had an intimate, unfiltered look into the life of a prehistoric European. So, who was this man, C? Thanks to the incredible state of his preservation, scientists have been able to piece together a remarkably detailed picture of his life. He was about 45 years old when he died, which was a ripe old age for the Copper Age. He stood about 5 feet 5 inches tall and was lean and weathered, likely from a life of constant physical activity. His DNA tells us he had brown eyes, dark brown hair, and type O blood. It even reveals he was lactose intolerant and genetically predisposed to heart disease, some of the earliest evidence of such conditions in human history. His body was a roadmap of his life, covered in 61 distinct tattoos. These weren't elaborate images like we see today. They were simple lines and crosses, grouped together on his lower back, knees, and ankles. Researchers believe these weren't for decoration. Many of the tattoos are located over joints and areas that showed signs of wear and tear, leading to a fascinating theory. They were a form of ancient acupuncture or therapeutic treatment for chronic pain. C was, in a sense, self-medicating with a practice we are only now beginning to fully understand. But what about his final days? What was he doing so high up in the treacherous mountains? The artifacts found with him offer crucial clues. C was remarkably well-equipped. He carried a revolutionary piece of technology for his time, a copper-bladed axe. In an age dominated by stone tools, a metal axe would have been a symbol of immense status and power. He also had a longbow made of yew, a quiver with 14 arrows, only 2 of which were finished, and a flint-bladed dagger. He wore sophisticated clothing made from the skins of different animals, including a bearskin cap, a coat of woven goat and sheep hide, and leggings. His shoes were particularly ingenious, constructed with a bearskin sole, deerskin panels, and insulated with soft grass. He was clearly a man who knew how to survive in the wild. He also carried a type of prehistoric first aid kit, containing 2 species of fungi known for their medicinal properties. 1. A birch fungus is a known natural antibiotic. He was prepared for anything, or so he thought. The contents of his stomach give us a snapshot of his last 48 hours. His final meal, eaten just a couple of hours before his death, consisted of ibex meat, einkorn wheat bread, and some ferns. The pollen analysis from his digestive tract tells an even more detailed story. By identifying the types of pollen he ingested, scientists could trace his journey. The pollen shows he traveled from a lower altitude forest up into the high alpine pass where he was found. He was on the move, ascending thousands of feet in a short period. But why? Was he a shepherd moving his flock? A hunter tracking prey? Or was he fleeing from something ... or someone? The answer, it turns out, was written in his flesh, and it turned this incredible archaeological find into a 5,000-year-old cold case. For years, the leading theory was that C died from exposure, caught in a sudden blizzard high in the mountains. It was a romantic and tragic end. But in 2001, 10 years after his discovery, a new X-ray revealed a shocking detail that had been missed: a small dark shape lodged deep in his left shoulder. It was a flint arrowhead. C hadn't frozen to death. He had been murdered. The arrow had entered from behind, severing a major artery. He would have bled out in minutes. This changed everything. Suddenly, C's final journey wasn't a peaceful trek. It was a desperate flight for his life. Further analysis revealed more evidence of a violent struggle. He had a deep cut on his right hand, between his thumb and forefinger, a classic defensive wound sustained a day or two before his death. He also had bruises and cuts across his body. The scene was set for a prehistoric crime thriller. Who attacked C, and why? The evidence suggests he was involved in a conflict in his village or territory below. He fought, was injured, and then fled up into the mountains. His attacker or attackers pursued him. The fact that the valuable copper axe was left behind suggests that robbery wasn't the primary motive. This was likely personal. Was it a dispute over resources, a rivalry, a betrayal? The arrow was shot from a distance of about 30 meters, an act of deadly stealth. After being shot, C likely sat down to rest, laid his gear beside him, and succumbed to his wound. His killer approached, retrieved the arrow shaft, leaving the head inside, and disappeared, leaving C to be entombed by the falling snow and ice. This single individual has provided more information about the Copper Age than any other discovery. We've learned about their health, their diet, their technology, and their social dynamics. C's DNA has even been linked to modern-day people living in the region, meaning his descendants walk among us. He is a direct link to our own distant past, a human face on a chapter of history that was previously silent. He wasn't a king or a great warrior recorded in texts, but an ordinary man whose extraordinary preservation has made him immortal. Today, Ötzi rests in a specially designed, climate-controlled chamber at the South Tyrol Museum of Archaeology in Bolzano, Italy. He is kept at a constant -6 degrees Celsius and 99% humidity, mimicking the glacier that was his tomb for millennia. Thousands of visitors a year peer through a small window into his frozen chamber, looking upon the face of a man who lived an almost unimaginable time ago. He is a silent witness, a man from a lost world whose story continues to unfold as our technology becomes more advanced. He died alone in the mountains, the victim of a brutal, ancient crime. But in death, he triumphed. His story outlived empires, his secrets survived the ice, and he continues to teach us what it means to be human. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time to uncover the story of Ötzi the Ice Man. It's a powerful reminder that history is not just about dates and events, but about real people with real lives. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the mysteries of our past. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, stay curious.